In the cataracts she felt the spring melt pounding her shoulders, watched him picking his way over the stream bed, hunting creek fish with his hands. And he was waiting for her, winged in a damp blanket which he wrapped around her, lowering her to the earth. They had met in, of all places, church. She had known of him, been warned of him, heard that he stirred up trouble back in England, had joined the ships only to escape, fled Plymouth, fled New Haven, to settle in a hut on Springfield's edge. They said he was ungodly, consorted with heathens, disappeared into the woods to join in savage ritual. Twice she'd seen him watching her. Once she met him on the road. This was all, but this was all she needed. She felt that she had sprung from him. He watched her through the sermon, and she felt her neck grow warm beneath his gaze. Outside, he asked her to meet him in the meadow, and in the meadow he asked her to meet him by the river's bank. She was to be married to John Stone, a minister of twice her age, whose first wife had died with child. Died beaten with child, her sister told her, died from her wounds. On the shore, beneath the watch of egrets, her lover wrapped his fingers into hers, made promises, rolled his grass sprig with his tongue. She'd been there 7 years. They left that night, a comet lighting the heavens in the direction of their flight. From a midwife's garden, 3 potatoes, hardtack from the pocket of a sleeping shepherd, a chicken from a settler's homestead, a laying chicken which he carried tucked beneath his arm. "My sprite," he called his lover in the shelter of the darkness, and she looked back into his eyes. He was mad, she thought, naked but for his scraps of clothing, his axe, his clucking hen. And how he talked of Flora, the dominion of the toad and muck clam, the starscapes of the fireflies, the reign of wolf and bear and bloom of mold, and around them in the forests, everywhere, the spirits of each bird and insect, each fir, each fish. She laughed, for how could there be space? There'd be more fish than river, more bird than sky, 1,000 angels on a blade of grass. "Shh," he said, his lips on hers, lest she offend them, the raccoon, the worm, the toad, the will-o'-the-wisp. They ran. They married in the bower, said oaths within the oaken hollow. On the trees grew mushrooms large as saddles, gray birds, red snakes, and orange newts, their witnesses. The huckleberries tossed their flowers, the smell of hay rose from the fern they crushed, and the sound, the whir, the roar of the world. They ran. The last farms far behind them, now only forest. They followed Indian paths through groves hollowed by fire, with high green vaults of celestial scale. On the hottest days they climbed the rivers, chicken on his shoulder, her hand in his. Mica dusted her heels like silver, damselflies upon her neck. Flying squirrels in the trees above them, and in the silty sand the great tracks of cats. Sometimes he stopped and showed her signs of human passage. "Friends," he said, and said that he could speak the language of the people this side of the mountains. But where were they, she wondered, and she stared into the green that surrounded them, for fear was in her, and loneliness, and she didn't know which one was worse. And then one morning they woke in the pine duff, and he declared they were no longer hunted. He knew by the silence, the air, the clear warp of summer wind. The country had received them. In the colony, 2 black lines were drawn through 2 names in the register. The children warned of thrashings if